All right, I'm currently on the line with Elle Indigo. She's another musician that reached out about the current interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the chance to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Elle Indigo. I'm a pop singer, pop and indie singer, and also a poet and speculative fiction writer. And I'm just entering the music world professionally this last year and a half or so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and kind of figure out how this all came together for you. Tell me about the environment growing up for you that led you into this creative lifestyle, then pushed you into music.
Yeah. I grew up in a musical household. My dad played piano, and my mom occasionally played flute. And so I think we started playing. My brother and I started taking piano lessons around 10 and voice lessons around the same time. And I kind of drifted away from that for a little while in college. I took some voice lessons on and off for a while, but piano kind of always felt forced to me. I miss it a little bit now and then because it would definitely help with composition. So I might get back into that a bit. I didn't think I was going to be a musician for the longest time because I had pretty bad stage fright growing up. So I was in choir, but that was about it.
Okay, so tell me a bit about that process of kind of being that age, learning instruments and taking voice lessons. Did you feel like it was kind of pressure from your parents to kind of live up to what they were into, or did you authentically kind of genuinely want to get into?
Voice was much more of a choice for me, and I'm grateful that I learned piano, but the lessons definitely felt very forced. It wasn't something I was as drawn to.
Okay, and then did you also participate in like the regular curricular like band classes or choir or jazz or anything like that?
Choir, yes. Yeah. Band, no. But choir, yes. Yeah.
Sure. All right. So tell me about how that continued in your life. Like, were you writing like poems and songs and your speculative fiction throughout like your childhood and high school years, and that developed into poetry? Give me a little bit of detail about how that flowed.
Yeah, of course. No, I've been writing poetry pretty much for my whole life. I found a poem from when I was 6, which like I don't remember writing, of course. So that was really my first love, was poetry, and I'm still working out how to translate, my writing style into lyrics, and like what is the right fit for me, because obviously like how I write poetry and speculative fiction and comics, like speculative fiction is much different than poetry and most lyrics. I mean, there's definitely bands out there that they do like Lord of the Rings themed songs and whatnot, but that's not really my vibe for lyrics. So it's been a whole new process. It's like learning a completely different style of writing. And I do think that the poetry does really help. But it's still even a bit different from what I typically write poetically. So lyrics is pretty new for me overall.
Let's kind of talk about how that developed then. At what point do you think that you decided you're going to focus more on it becoming a musical project than like a literature project?
I think the main thing that kind of pushed me into that was that I really just love singing. It's one of like singing and poetry are some of my biggest joys in life, and I wanted to be able to share that with the world. So I am part of a 2-part cover band, and I love doing that, but I also wanted to be able to express myself in my own words. So that was kind of the push for me to start writing lyrics.
And then let's kind of target the 2-part cover band for a second. Tell me about how that came together. Was it just you had a musician friend that wanted to do some covers, and so you decided to get together and perform those? Or how did that balance out?
Yeah, kind of the opposite. I was wanting to perform and put myself on the stage. It was about 2.5 years ago. I'm still working on the stage fright a little bit, but I've been really pushing myself. So for a while there, I was just going to karaoke like multiple times a week to do my best to get past that, exposure therapy basically. And through that, I met some musicians. And so my current partner and I worked together, and we met. And I think it was a couple months later, I was like, you know what, if you're down to do something together, I would like to perform. So we started practicing, and I think 4 or 5 months later, we got our first gig as a cover band.
And so you mentioned that was about 2 years ago that you kind of took the first steps to make that happen. Are
Yeah.
you still
Mhm.
performing as that cover band, or or has it progressed into more of an originals project?
We're still performing covers, and I have an original coming out in less than 2 weeks. So we're going to perform that at our next gig. Um, so we only have the one to perform right now at the moment, and we've discussed working on stuff that's more of a duo originals, but that's still kind of in the works. So right now, we can perform the song that I'm putting out this upcoming, oh my God, on the 26th of September, as of as of when we're talking right now.
Sure. Okay. You mentioned that this is kind of pop and indie styled music. Give me a little bit of definition of what that means for you. Like, what are some of the bands that you're covering?
Yeah. Oh. So for the cover songs, that's an easy answer. I do a couple Billie Eilish, Adele. Actually, we haven't done any Sia yet, but we could. Um, Alicia Keys. Oh my God, Amy Winehouse. I don't think I've done a Sabrina Carpenter yet either. Oh, Chapel Roan. Um, I I fell in love with Benson Boone's song. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I think it is. So we've been doing that one and Teddy Swims, and so just kind of all over the place in that realm. We the area we live in is more of a retirement community, so I need to get on adding some stuff to our repertoire that's more like 60s through 80s because right now we're doing a lot of new stuff.
Okay. Well, let's talk about stepping into the avenue of creating original music. Then you mentioned that you're working on the originals with the same person that you're doing the covers with. Tell me about the process that's been like, and kind of transitioning your writing into being, the solo singer songwriter type scenario.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting process. I probably, I mean, this is common in any writing form to be editing multiple times before you feel ready. So I had kind of a stack of songs that I wrote early 2024. And I'm just now kind of getting into the compositional musical phase of those because they went through many, rewrites. Some of them more drastic, some of them are just a couple lines. And I would say because this is still fairly new for me, I'm probably leaning on my partner a little bit more for the musical composition side. But as we kind of find that footing, I'm able to put a little bit more of my voice towards, uh, the melody or the overall sound. And so, of course, I'm sure many musicians have their, 200 plus audio demo snippets on their phone. So
You mentioned that you do have a song coming out. So at some point you were able to get a recording that you were satisfied with. Are you doing like home recordings, or did you book a studio and go in and do studio time? Tell me a little bit about how you did that.
yeah, home recording. I have I mean, it's not the most expensive setup, but it's a pretty decent setup. And so I'm really happy with the sound quality that we were able to come out with on that.
Okay, perfect. So basically, kind of your average bedroom band type setup where you're going into a computer through like a audio interface sort of thing, and just live miking acoustic guitars, I assume, and then
Keyboard.
vocals the same way. Keyboard. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, where do you think this is going for you? Do you imagine like a contemporary, like full pop band lineup with drums and guitars, or do you think it'll be kind of a stripped down version, like just keyboard and vocals sort of thing? What's the vision?
It's like I have this idea of myself on a larger stage, but that's still like a little bit terrifying. So I have to work up the nerves to get over that. Um, I think I probably see that as more of like your typical backing band. And for smaller venues, definitely keeping it more acoustic, more, 2 to 3 people, nothing big. But I would like to see it grow. Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me? Okay. My computer has a sleep and I needed to keep it awake there. Okay. It didn't go all the way asleep. So yeah, I know eventually I definitely have plans of, hitting bigger stages. We were just discussing like what our schedules would look like if we ever toured. And I'm not sure if that's something that I envision right now or not. Definitely something I need to put more thought towards, because I'm a bit of a believer in manifestation, so I need to have that vision a little closer to my chest.
Yeah, absolutely. So along those lines, I imagine you won't stop at just one original. You'll probably end up writing more or several more. Do you eventually plan to put together like a full like LP or a full album that you want to release?
Yeah, so this is where I have a pro. I was going to say prolificity, but I don't think that's a word. A problem with being prolific. I basically have about 2 albums of lyrics written, and right now about 4. We have like basic composition for like 4 or so. So I do have a plan, if all stays on goal, around February to have an initial album released. So the rest of the songs are just in various stages of production right now.
Okay, great. I mean, at least there's a path that you're working on and you have like
Yes.
a goal in mind. That's awesome. That's the first step to getting there.
Right. Yeah. No, we got a schedule and all that. And, some of it's going to fluctuate, of course.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, it'll go through 100 edits and until everybody's satisfied. All right. Well, what are some of your favorite memories that you have of music and being engaged in the creative process that continue to keep you motivated?
I think definitely some of our first gigs were a really, it was just so nice to have that experience finally of being able to perform, something that's not just, I love karaoke, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun, but, something that was a little bit past that stage. And anytime somebody says that, if they're listening to me sing and it really moves them, that really keeps me going.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, where can people find your music and check you out, and then also follow along with your shows that you're putting on?
Yeah, so it's Elle Indigo, ELLE, Indigo, like the color, on Spotify and all streaming, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, etc. And website elleindigo.com. Socials are ellindigo.singer. And that's, I think, Facebook, Insta, TikTok are the main ones.
Okay, perfect. So I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that you have that you want to share with other people?
So I definitely did not pre-think of this, but I think one thing that's really coming to mind for me lately is, and something I kind of come back to from time to time, is that overall, I believe we have a lot more similarities than differences. And so if you're ever finding yourself in conflict, just try to find those similarities. We're all human, and we go through the same emotions.